Let's go.
Welcome to Sold a Scene, episode 5. I'm Andy Cooper from RMS Motoring, and you're most welcome to the show, which sees myself, Craig Allen, and Gary Riley in real life for the first time within COVID jab striking distance.
Hello, Craig.
Hello, Gary.
Alright, thanks. About remembering.
Hi, Andy.
Hi, Andy. It's alright.
Cheers. I know, this is a bit weird, sitting beside each other. Not with no delay.
Yeah.
No. And I can just flipping smell Craig's flipping running dinner from here.
Marvelous.
Craig's getting ready for a marathon, allegedly.
We'll see.
We'll see. So we have to endure the smell of his...
It was a salmon salad.
Yeah,
He's
lovely.
here in full technical revision.
Yeah, we
Smell-o-vision.
we especially love your sandwich bag.
My flurry bag.
I think we need to get a picture of your flurry bag for the show notes. Look, in case you missed it, last week's show was an absolute belter. Well, we're talking to Chris Gray from A86 World, and if you want to hear an amazing story of a lad from Larne making it big time in the tuning world of Japan, or if you just love twin cam Corollas, or hell, just a good story, it's a great listen, and we've been getting mega feedback from that show. But we're physically together in one place, and that place itself is PMG Autocare in their HQ in Belfast. But not only that, we're sitting on a sofa, and about 20 yards from us is the set where Colin Yaris records General Banter, which we had absolutely no idea.
Yeah, they have a super setup back there, and we're huddled around 3 mics, like 3 decks.
Yeah, with our flipping children's version of the
That's a
setup.
real lesson how to do it right, how to do it wrong.
Yeah,
It's so cool.
it's unbelievable.
Andy, why are we at PMG?
Well, here, we'll get there. We need to tell people what else is on the show apart from talking about Toyotas or
Fucking Yaris.
Porsches or whatever else.
So you get a
look,
Porsche?
Look, on this show, it's just us. And I say that knowing that it's actually not true, and there's always loads of people we want to talk to. We're at PMG, so we'll probably have Pete up to have a chat later on, although we'll probably do a separate episode with Pete entirely. But I also had a chat with Gethin from GTI NI. So they're running this Euro Treffen show, which is probably one of the first big shows, an outdoor show up outside Larne. Also drove my first Ferrari, which I'll tell you about.
Did you get a Ferrari as well?
No, I did not get a Ferrari, but someone very stupidly gave me the keys, which is completely ridiculous.
Is this the perk of GT4 ownership? Does it open doors?
I don't know. I really don't know. I did a track day in the GT4 last week though at Bishop's Court. That was awesome. We'll talk about that. And yes, I maybe did collect a small Japanese hatchback,
Unbelievable.
and that's why we're here, because it's going in for a detail with Pete. But yeah, the Yaris is awesome. I only picked it up on Tuesday, so I've literally picked it up, took it home, we undersealed it, and then brought it here, and that is all I have driven it.
So it hasn't been driven in anger yet?
No. Well,
You can't.
yeah, I can't put it. I need to allegedly put 600 miles on it, and
See,
I would say
Took me around for 0.3 miles and then go over 2,000 revs.
no, and it will maybe hit $3,500.
Maybe. Yeah.
How have you not put 600 miles on it? Have you not just gone out and just crunched them?
I know I would love to do that, but it's my first new car, so I thought I'm going to try and allegedly do it right. We stripped all the arch liners off it, took all the under trays off it, undersealed it, used the Built Hamber Dynax, which seems brilliant stuff. It's like a spray wax, so it's dead handy to put on, and put mud flaps on it. But it still has all its. I'll post some pictures and I'll start a thread as well, so you can people can see the process and the progress. But it still has all the stickers and even has the barcodes from Toyota and all the
I
plastic.
did laugh. I looked in the mirror as you come down the road and I could see the protection film and the roof flapping about.
We have been outside and have seen it, and it is fucking awesome.
It's brilliant.
It's so cool. And the brakes are ginormous.
It's just unbelievable. But
It's just what a hot hatch should be when you look at it.
yeah, but all the bespoke parts in it, and the fact that it's super wide arch, but 3 doors. Well, it brings me back to the days of. Well, I remember I bought your VTI Civic off you, Gary. But those are the days we bought, mucked about in performance hot hatches. You had a Focus Creek that was not a performance hot hatch.
You haggled me
That wasn't hot at all.
haggled me to distraction, if I recall.
But that's right, yeah. But that was a great car. But yeah, so I've had a pretty awesome week. Like Tuesday, especially, was unbelievable because I was also asked to a track day or a private. It wasn't even a track day; it was a private booking at Bishop's Court. It was never driven on, so I took the GT4. It is an incredible circuit. And this isn't the airstrip I'm talking about where we used to do the cruises. This is the actual, generally motorbike racing circuit or some karting and stuff like that there. And it was just
This is where the grown-ups go.
yeah. If you can get on. So I had a brilliant day. And on the same day, I went and picked up the
Probably a private Porsche day, that one.
Yaris.
Yeah, no Mickey Mouse outfit.
We have a question from Fabio Paul from the forum that he asked a number of weeks ago and we haven't got around to answering it yet. So let's do that now before we do anything else.
Okay.
I am now in the position to buy a new car and had a 3-car race. Golf GTI, Focus ST, I had one of those, and a Hyundai i30N Performance. So what would we choose? All in around the same price, $50,000 to $55,000 because he's in Australia. All with various pros and cons, which after much debate and discussion and reading and watching countless YouTube reviews, put money down on the i30, which I should get in August, September. Seems to be the answer to every What Car thread in RMS is littered with Golf GTI suggestions, although it's usually the Mark V. I haven't driven any of the newer GTIs, shocker. But I did have a Focus ST, albeit the STD. Probably should announce on a podcast I've had an STD.
Can you get Derv in Australia?
Christ knows.
I have no idea.
I imagine you can get Derv in the USA even, but it's
Yeah.
rare.
Yeah, it's not. It's not.
Crushed,
it's
crushed
not
up
a thing.
koalas or something.
So he's actually ordered the i30.
He's ordered the i30, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good move. But
I think they're absolutely fantastic. 275 brake, well spec, fancy front slip diff, fantastic choice, which is where he put his money in the end. But at the very top end of his $55,000 budget, and by which I mean $56,000, he could have had a Yaris GR.
not only could he have had a Yaris GR, but in Oz they do the GR Rally Edition, which has all the extras I can't get in mine. So the circuit pack.
I thought that was the circuit pack, the
Yeah.
Rally Edition.
Yeah, it's different.
It's different. That's, see, a spec one on Tour de Australia, and you can get the GR, not the Rally, which I thought was the circuit pack. 12 months registration, 12 months third party insurance, and whatever you need else in Australia, kangaroo liability or whatever. And that's where my money goes for 56,000, 55,000 ish. But if you absolutely positively need more than 2 doors, the i30N's a fantastic choice.
Yeah, class cars.
The great thing is you do have lots of choices. The i30 is fantastic, but it's very much a GTI Golf competitor. That's in that segment.
It'd just be, if you're out in Australia, if you're not driving a Holden or something strange like they get out there, where you
left
go,
field.
I kind
Yeah.
of wish I'd got a 9-litre Holden
Yeah.
and be sliding about in it.
There's probably a fast hatch for every scenario. If you need 5 doors, 3 doors, if you want something harder in the road and more rally like the Yaris, or something that kind of ticks more boxes like the Golf. You know,
But-
he's in a good position there to select whatever he wants for those.
Fair play to Hyundai as well for coming out that N range. How long is the N range out? 3, 4, 5 years?
Yeah.
At
At
the
least,
most.
yeah.
And they were talking about an 8th generation GTI Golf or something like that, and Hyundai can just pull something out of the hat and be right up there. And well, sure, even Toyota with the Yaris, they haven't done anything decent hardcore performance in 20 years.
Yeah.
You can't really count the Supra. You can't really count the. Okay, you can say the GT86, but it was always a wee bit warm.
The thing about them two cars, the Toyota and the Hyundai, they both got it right from the start. They haven't had to improve over successive models.
True.
They've both been really well received right from day one.
The only thing I hate about the new Volkswagens is to put the badge in the centre. The GTI badge is now in the centre of the boot,
And they've spaced the letter
which
now.
is wrong.
Yeah.
GTI badge, bottom left. That's the way it goes.
See, Vauxhall doing the same. I saw a photo the other day of the new Astra they're going to release, and the letters are spaced out quite wide and a bit the same as
No,
the Golf. It
no,
seems to be
no.
the trend.
No, I'm not having that.
Well, Vauxhall are part of PSA now, so I dare say that Vauxhall will are for the chop. Because sure, what in the brands of
General Motors.
Peugeot,
and everything else.
Citroen, and all the rest. Me,
Oh no, terrible.
God help, Vauxhall used to make.
There'll be one brand in a few years' time, probably, and that'll be it.
Yeah, but
Oh, buying each other up and then cancelling each other out.
exactly, they own far too many segments of the same.
Standard car A, standard car B.
Yeah, totally. But I'll tell you a little bit less about standard cars. Let's talk about some serious performance. So, as I say, Tuesday during the week, track day in the morning, picked up the Yaris in the afternoon. My mind was blown, but not as much as it was blown when I was throwing the keys of an 812 Superfast
Wow.
a few weeks ago, which was just what, and just totally recalibrated what I thought a performance car was. So let me tell you about this thing. So it's one of Ferrari's GT cars, but when I say GT car, 6.5 litre V12,
Jesus.
8,500 RPM redline, 1,700 kilos, so quite heavy. But if you have 800 horse,
Nothing's heavy.
so 60 in 2.9 using launch control, and a 211 mile an hour top end.
Sounds sluggish.
No, the problem is it makes everything else
Seems
feel,
sluggish, yeah.
just unbelievable. Like I posted some photos on Instagram a few weeks back when I was at. It's just, I tell you what, see someone handing you a Rossi red key, and for like one of Maranello's best pieces of art, like I'll never forget it.
I think I've asked you this before, but in my mind, it's not really the speed that worry me so much as the cost of the car, and if I bend it, like the sheer value of the thing.
Well, look, the guy that owns the car knows me, and
He'd need to know you well.
well, no, he clearly doesn't. He's seen me GT4 and he knows some of my car history. He knows I do some track work. I've done some competition work. But what was going through my mind at the time was this guy is just mental. You know, what is he doing? But I wasn't going to say no. I was just, this was all going through my mind at the time.
How much are they? Near 400 grand, are they?
Something like that, yeah. There.
320.
Jesus Christ.
Is that before you option it?
So, before you
Would start like doors. 350.
So, like, when I hopped into the thing, like, my mind was racing. I was trying to think about the car and just, like, read the things about Evo magazine or in Carfection reviews and stuff, but I was like, well, I really don't know anything about them at all. So I remember, like, getting in, I found the door handle, got in, and it's like, right, does this key go somewhere? I, like, literally was sitting in the seat and was like, does the key go into a slot? And I was like, right, this car's like a 2020 car. It's bound to be keyless. I'll just set the key in like the bin beside me and hope there's a start button, which there was. Like I remember the time I hired a new Passat, got into it, set my phone down in the center console, couldn't find the start button because I had set my phone on top of the bloody start button in the center console, and I had to go and ask the wee 80-year-old lady in the booth how you started.
I had my Touareg a year before I realised that the button started the car. I just thought it turned it off. Because the guy I bought it off at Volkswagen said it didn't start it, so I was putting the key in for like a year. And then I came back, I got tires fitted and came back and the engine was running and the key wasn't in it. How the fuck's he done that?
Some kind of sorcery.
Well, like, I found the start button, thank God, it's on the steering wheel, big red button, you can't miss it, start her up.
Can I call an American phrase and say you sound like a virgin on prom night?
Putting digits everywhere.
I know cars, don't fuck it up.
And then I realised I had it running, sounded awesome, and then I was like, I have no idea how to put this thing in reverse and get it out of the space it was in. I had to turn the guy and he just points at the centre console and there's three beautiful billet buttons in the middle, one says R on it, and I was like, that must be it. And so that was fine, got out, and obviously then 2 down from that button was the one that said D, so jabbed it, away we go.
Process of elimination.
Yes, we're flying. We're flying until we came to my first junction, and I didn't realise that Ferraris have no stocks, no indicator stocks,
They're
no wiper
extra.
stocks.
There's the buttons.
They're all on the steering wheel.
Like
They
the
just
TVRs used to be.
yeah, so it's like, it has to be the style that everyone's. So then suddenly a hand came across from the passenger side and just pressed the button.
No.
I was like,
Hand of God.
I was like, oh my God.
Like a driving instructor.
Yeah, this guy thinks I'm an absolute pleb, you know.
They've dual brakes on it now.
And then I didn't have dual brakes. No.
Dual controls.
He wasn't sitting there with a clipboard marking me. Failed. But anyway, so got in the move, and the car's actually super refined, super quiet, and yes, you have those sort of figures and silly figures and the horsepower and the performance in your mind, but on the move, it's super creamy, smooth, and then I'm sort of looking at the steering wheel, and that's awesome with the flipping shift lights and everything else. But I'm then told, my instructor now tells me, stick it into race and give it the message. And I'm like, oh. And
Reaching for R again.
not reaching for R. The dash was all ready to put it into race and all, and then it's like, oh my Christ. The throttle response is just animalistic. And like, I'm grabbing paddles for the gears, and I'm too short, or I'm in the limiter, and it's just unbelievable. Like, back to the figures again, 100 mile an hour, 5.8 seconds.
That's wild.
And 170 in 17 seconds. And it's just, like, I have no reference point for that type of performance. It is just unbelievable. But I suppose that's the supercar appeal. It has to be
Insane.
considerably
Above everything else.
better than anything else. So then, oh,
For 320 grand, it would need to be show-stopping.
yeah, but also the chassis was amazing. And I didn't then realise that they have a fully adjustable chassis and, I say, launch control, limited slip diff. You can switch everything off and make it smoke the tyres from here to Portrush. You know, it's just.
I think the biggest problem with a car like that could do 100 in under 6 seconds is, there's so much power. How can you enjoy it unless you're doing loads of track days?
Yeah, first, second.
You can't
lost my
utilise
license.
much
Yeah, totally.
much of the power really at all, in relation to what it has.
Yeah, well,
Didn't pay attention, lost the books.
yeah, well, that's why I take stuff to the track, because you can't use it on the road. In fact, some of the guys I was with, the GT3 RS owners, are like, these cars are just completely useless on the road. You just can't use them. They're a license loser.
We can use them, but you can't enjoy them.
Well,
the way
sorry.
they're intended.
Exactly, and despite the performance these cars have, people don't want to lose their license. They need it for their jobs and all the rest, So that's why I want to go. But anyway, I know I climbed back into the GT4, and I was like 50 miles an hour the whole way home. I was like, this is this
Fucking Beetle.
no. Unbelievable. So yeah, I've had a bit of a time of it, which has just been absolutely
That's a decent week.
mad.
Sure, you've had worse weeks.
I'll tell you what, and one more thing before you guys get on your soapbox about whatever it is. I was chatting to Gethin from GTI NI on this Euro Treffen show I mentioned earlier, and recorded it. So I'll play that now. You can hear all about this show coming up in a few weeks, and it sounds absolutely awesome. And I'll tell you what, see if the weather is anything like we've had over the last
banging.
week or so, it'll be absolutely awesome. Gethin, great to have you on the show. Just wanted to get a chat because of part of GTI NI, you guys host and run probably the most renowned car shows here in Northern Ireland. Dubshed, of course, Titanic, Dubs, and others. And I'm going to blow a bit of smoke here, but they're great shows of scale. There's loads to see. The standard of cars and the variety is always incredible. And you have a genuine international following, which you're bringing people over here from all over the place, which is just for Northern Ireland. It's just unbelievable. But you've a new show coming up very soon, Euro Treffen. We'll talk about that shortly. But I did want to ask about lockdown and Dubshed and things like that, because I knew it was one of the very first. It was the big show of the year in April last year, and then suddenly 3 or 4 weeks before that, we were stuck in lockdown, and that must have been fairly devastating for you guys.
Yeah, so we were. Well, first of all, thanks for inviting us on, Andy. It's great to join you here. No, certainly last year in terms of Dubshed, it was definitely a bit of a roller coaster. We had, we'd released all our entries. Entries had actually closed. We had selected all the cars, and I think it was maybe 10 days after that, coronavirus started to really hit home here, and we were looking at all the changes taking place in society and stuff. And, we're at that point, we were having to really give serious consideration to running the event. And lo and behold, a few days later, we had to make that decision. And I'm glad we made an early call on it. I suppose what would have seemed a bit of a risk at that time, but it was the right call. And I think we aptly praised for that at the time. That was the right decision to make. Like, there's no way at the start of April, like, it was even any way possible.
Absolutely. And I'm sure these shows are a case of, as soon as you finish one, you're starting to plan for the next one. So there's maybe 12 months planning plus that's into that.
That's it. Like, Dub said, I don't know if people appreciate the amount of effort that actually does go into preparing for the event. Like, it's 6 months of, continual meetings and, making arrangements and making sure that we, have the right things in the right place at the right time for opening entries and announcing the dates and organizing flyers. And it's a lot of work behind the scenes. And, we do rely heavily on volunteers for it as well. So in one sense, it was disappointing, but I think all of us on the team were actually glad of a break for what has turned out to be 2 years.
Yeah.
But I think, we've had enough of the break, and we're really, really keen to host another event.
Which is fantastic. Yeah, which is fantastic news, because it's sort of, hopefully it's the sign of normality when you're thinking of things like this. So there's been a few cars and coffees and bits and pieces, but I see you guys have you've posted up about Euro Treffen, which is, and you've called it a meet rather than a show. So and it's a new thing from GTI NI. So what's it all about?
Yeah, look, I think, we ran our Castle Wellin event for 15 years, and to the point that we actually weren't welcome back. And it wasn't out of bad behaviour or anything. Like, we just became more of a nuisance, more of a hindrance than anything. Castle Wellin Forest Park get very busy with park runs and mountain biking and all that stuff going on, that, we were probably taking up too much of the park area at probably their busiest weekend of the year. So they made it very difficult for us in the last year, and we decided then that was enough. We just pulled the pin on it. So I suppose ever since then we've been, trying to find a new venue, new location, something to replace that date with. So there's a place actually very local to where I live, which is where we're going to host the event. It's the Blue Circle Sailing Club, or Blue Circle Boat Club. It's a really, really cool location that hasn't been used before. I think it's used by the scooter guys or something. Like, I think some serious amount of scooters there years back, but nobody else has used it. But the real nice thing about it is it's so secluded. We have exclusive access to it, but it's surrounded by trees. But the reason for that, the sort of meet theme is, Castle Wellin was always just a really relaxed sort of, seen more of a meet than a show by us, certainly. So I think, we wanted to carry that on, and I suppose put a bit more emphasis on, the fact that we have Dub Shed. It's our serious event, for one of a better word, but it's all about the show and the shine and the trophies and all the rest of it. Whereas this summer event, we want it to be just a super chilled out event where people can come, meet up, park their cars up, share their common interest in a common place, and just relax.
Yeah, ease us in gently.
Absolutely, but don't get me wrong. We're going to do a few trophies at it, like, but it's all, we're not taking it too seriously, like.
Great. Well, do you know what? That's just what we need, because having gone to a couple of events the last couple of weeks, and they've just been sort of small, relaxed events, and they're absolutely packed. People are just, as you know, dying to get out, and they've had projects they've been working on the last 2 years for maybe a show for last year that didn't happen. Yeah. So everyone's super keen, and I can't wait. And I think it's just a genius idea just to come up with something relaxing. It's outside. No one's going to feel any issues with proximity and all that sort of stuff. So it's great. And like, how many, what sort of size is the place? How many cars do you think you'll get in?
Well, I think we're hoping for something slightly over our usual Castlewell numbers, so maybe 250 cars. But I suppose at this stage, Nigel and I were talking about this the other day, we're nearly scared of overcooking it.
Yeah.
We do have a decent size area. We do a decent amount of parking, but it's hard to gauge the demand at the moment.
We were talking earlier before we started the show, just about the number of car enthusiasts in Northern Ireland and the reputation you guys have. I have no doubt that it'll be a busy day.
Well, I just hope it's not too busy. But yeah, look, we put it all into these events. Like, I think the key thing is we're genuine car enthusiasts. Like, we don't do it for any other reason. If we did, we'll be mad. But I hope our attention to detail and our attention to sort of adhering to safety and a bit of common sense, has carried us through the past 17 years now. We've been organising events. So
absolutely staggering 17 years of events, and we'll do. I would like to have yourself and some of the other guys from GTI NI on about all those events and to talk about the whole story. We'll do a show on at some stage, because it's just as incredible, as I said at the start, was something that now has an international reputation. To come to wee Northern Ireland for a car show is just class, because I've always known for years with RMS going to the big English shows like JAE and Billing or something like that, or Classic Car Show and all that sort of stuff. To have something like that here is I think it's an incredibly important thing that we must grab hold of.
I guess that's what inspired us in the first place. We wanted to put on a decent events, and it's quite cool though. Like, we don't really think of it like that. We're still, I like to think we're still fairly humble in the whole thing, and we do try to stay grounded on it.
Yeah, well, and keep at it for such a long time with so much clearly personal effort that goes in from your team side of things. It's just unbelievable. But look, really looking forward to Euro Treffen. So it's 3rd of July in the Blue Circle Boat Club in Larne. What side of Larne's that on?
So just we'll make it clear. Saturday, the 3rd of July, gates open at 10 a.m. We haven't put a finish time on it because we want to see how it goes. That's a new one from us. What side of Larne is it on? It's between Carrickfergus and Larne, but it's near Larne, unfortunately. But I do love it. I can't be too sore on it. So
very good. Look, we absolutely look forward to that. There, that'll be absolutely class, and it's just keep on our social media pages, sure, for further updates. We were talking, like, we have left it open at the minute, but if we do find there is a lot of interest in this event, we may have to start looking at pre-ticket sales. So that is sort of something we're looking at the minute. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but we can't have the event being too busy. Like, there are still restrictions in place, so for sure,
we just need to be careful.
Sure, no worries. And all your social media, where can people find you on your socials?
We are. Let me just double check this. GTI NI one is not.
You would think I would have had that research for you as well.
Yeah.
Please.
So you can find us on GTI NI _ is our Instagram page. We're also GTI NI on Facebook. We are also on Dubshed on Instagram and Dubshed on Facebook. So most of our updates all of our updates will be on GTI NI, on both social media, for both Instagram and Facebook. So just subscribe to those. Make sure you catch up the latest on there.
Excellent. And of course, no doubt there'll be updates we'll see those in RMS on the forum as well. But
sure.
Thanks very much for coming on for a quick chat. very excited about the show. Hopefully, we see Dubshed next year.
That's the plan, yeah. So we are provisionally booked for the first weekend in April. Obviously, COVID permitting, but hopefully things are back to normal by then.
Well, wonderful. Well, look, as I say, definitely like to have you all on to talk about the whole Dubshed and GTI NI story.
Sure.
If you guys would be up for that at some stage, but good to talk to you.
No worries. Thanks, Andy.
Take it easy. So yeah, great to hear that some shows are starting up. And I was at the Isle of Base Cars and Coffee a few weeks ago. It was phenomenal. The quality of stuff, which those guys always attract amazing cars, but down at their premises just off Dargan there, and the people that turned up, but people just dying to get out and do something. So really looking forward to Euro Treffen, and should be up there. But I think that's about it for the news of the moment.
No, not quite. Fast and Furious Supra, the 10-second Supra,
Yeah.
sold yesterday. Barrett Jackson Auctions. How much?
Jesus, no idea. Was this a stunt car, like a busted up car? Or was this a
This
show
was
car, like
the
one of the hero cars?
this was the car that they built.
Because this is where I get confused. They always build loads of them. Which one is the real one?
This is the
real Slim Shady?
This is the versus the Ferrari one.
Oh yeah, what's the retail on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
What is the retail on that?
What is the retail on that?
Now we know it's more than we can afford, Paul.
I don't know, $500,000.
$550,000,
Holy shit.
which was a record for fucking everything, I presume. $550,000 for an orange Supra.
That's mad. That was mad.
And it will never be driven, probably.
Probably not. Probably can't be driven.
But I suppose, what money would you give for a regular twin turbo manual? And now it was an oddball Supra too, because I presume it was a twin turbo manual, but it was a Targa. Is that what it's called? You've had one of these,
but
Gary.
a
So
Targa one used. So what I recall, I don't think you could buy them as a twin turbo manual. I think they're autos only, from memory, but I could be wrong. Hoping the correction on that. But I think what you can buy one of them for is irrelevant. That's really a piece of movie memorabilia, and that's what that's sold as, rather than a car.
So they maybe pimp that out over the next 20 or 30
yeah,
years. At
probably make a
shows
fortune
and-
out of it.
Yeah.
Fast and Furious 20, the Supras come back.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, bring it back. Well, petrol will be long gone by then. I'll probably be dead, but there you go.
Yeah, but it's just, it's a piece of movie history now. It's like if you had a gun from The Godfather or something. I'll never get driven the way it's spent.
$550,000 though.
It's mad.
A lot of money.
You need to be a big fan of the franchise. Maybe The Rock, but
Maybe.
I don't think Vin Diesel's stupid enough to spunk 550 grand on an old Supra. Well, maybe he is. Who knows?
I don't know. I tell you what, if Paul Walker was still alive, that's the man who would have bought it.
Exactly. Yeah, true. I wonder actually who sold it. I wonder who had it.
Who owned it?
Yeah.
So it wasn't owned by Universal or
I
whoever.
don't think so.
There's always private collectors. They sell these things off often at the end of films before they know how popular they're going to be. 10 years down the line or 20 years down the line.
Sitting in someone's garage for the last 20 years. 20 years? That'd be right.
2001. Yeah,
2001, yeah.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Fucking hell, getting old.
Vin Diesel hasn't aged a day.
Even Gethin.
Yeah, I'm old.
I was wondering if we could call this podcast Old as Seen or Old Has-Beens.
Yeah, old as shit.
So on the subject of record figures for car sale, Richard Burns' iconic year 2000 Rally GB winning Subaru Impreza WRC car has just been sold for a record $610,000 at auction. That's sterling, not American dollars, Australian dollars, or anything else.
Kicks the ass if you're
Yeah,
super
take
considerable.
that.
Certainly does. Thanks, Gary.
It's both a focal point of Subaru and Burns' rally success. The car itself is also lauded as one of the most original period WRC cars in existence on account of its original purchase directly from the finish line back in 2000. So this wasn't bought anywhere else with a few miles racked up on it ready and built up. It was bought direct from Subaru. So
As is.
Yeah, as is. So as we know, Richard sadly died from a brain tumour in 2005. But like his long-time rival, Colin McRae, who passed away 2 years after that, he's held in high esteem by rallying fans the world over. And this is no doubt added to the collectability and value of such a vehicle.
£610,000.
Yeah. It's a piece of rallying history.
Yeah, I suppose.
Something.
I never really got Subarus and Evos. I still, well, I probably still don't. They're too noisy and rattly and uncomfortable.
But lots of fun.
Do you know what?
Yeah, they probably are great fun. I just never really got it. It was never a Never a car that I wanted to
I
own.
wasn't into them, and then I bought a Tommy Macklin Evo and I absolutely loved it. And then I wanted a Subaru after that, and I never got around to buying one. But I did test drive a P1 and a few others, and they're good fun. They really were.
I had a 97 Mica Blue, and I had, or no, it wasn't Mica Blue, reddish blue it was called, sort of like light blue. It was lovely, and then I had a white 2000 crystal light one. Both I thought they were fabulous. Just when you're saying about that Richard Burns car, I think I'll post it in the show notes. I listened to an interview with his co-driver recently, and it was the Intercooler podcast or Collecting Cars or something like that. But again, a fascinating driver. Another good podcast to listen to is Chris Harris interviewing Nicky Grist.
Yeah,
as
I've
well.
heard that one.
Yeah, which is a great show.
Fascinating.
Colin McRae's co-driver, but yeah, rallying it's in our blood over here, and that's just part of the reason why something like that Yaris appeals as well, because of that homologation special turbo 4-wheel drive carry on that we sort of haven't had for 20 years, and now we're sort of older and can just go and sign the dotted line for stupid things because midlife crisis and all that sort of stuff.
And it was always very sad, them two guys, that they were such huge giants of rallying and died at a young age within 2 years of each other.
The bloody hell was that?
I've no idea. But see if Colin Geddes walks in that door, I'm going to flip and lose my shit.
Either that or someone stuffed a lorry into the front of your Yaris.
He's behind
Also
you.
about to lose my shit.
PPF didn't save that one.
No,
620 grand though. That's a lot of money.
unbelievable.
Speaking of a lot of money, Tesla have cancelled my lottery car.
What was your Tesla have cancelled your?
Tesla have cancelled my lottery car.
Is this because they won't take Bitcoin?
No, they're
That's
back.
how you were
They're
gonna
back
pay?
taking Bitcoin
Oh,
again.
yeah,
He's on the pump again. The Model S Plaid Plus, gone, shelved.
Why?
Elon says no need. The Plaid is just as good,
All right, okay.
and that's the end of that. It would have had 1100 horsepower, 0 to 60 less than 2 seconds, and a 520 mile range.
It's
But
unbelievable.
the
not bad for an EV.
mighty crypto influencer Elon Musk has decided no. So it's back to the drawing board on Dream EVs. Although to be honest, I'd be buying that mad Rimac thing. Never seen a car accelerate like that in my life. Did you see what it did to that Ferrari SF90?
This is the Nevera
Yeah.
X.
Oh my god.
And the thing is, the SF90 is not a slow car.
It is not a slow car.
any means.
It absolutely
1,000 horsepower.
smashed it to pieces. I've never seen a car take off like it. 2 million quid.
We'll post that in the show notes
But
because
seriously.
that's an amazing drag race.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable.
And I've been saying all along, I am well acknowledged as a combustion engine dinosaur. I've been in Teslas, I've read huge amounts about them and others. Electric cars don't really do anything for me at all. And I know I'm swimming against the tide, but I'll probably be one of these diehards clinging on the internal combustion engine car until the very last minute. But with that said, I saw the video of the Rimac Nevera and I was just astonished by the sheer ferocity of it.
Of all the things I've called you over the years, a combustion engine dinosaur was down the list.
One of the nicer ones, probably, you've come out with.
I never really got it at the start, but I'm a complete comfort now, and especially that Rimac. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's the way electric stuff can just deliver the instant torque. It's unbelievable.
And as
That was
always,
gone.
the most exciting ones sort of come from nowhere. It's not Ford or Tesla or any big name. It's from Croatia. A lot of people haven't heard of it.
Yeah, some mad dude went,
Just let's
all,
build
the,
this.
all the big manufacturers are just on the back foot with all the stuff.
Hot on the wares.
Even Toyota with their 15 years of Prius, they were ahead of the game by miles, and then they fell asleep at the wheel compared to the likes of Rimac. So, tell us about the.
Well, the
Nevera.
figures are as insane as the car itself. It has 4 electric motors, one on each wheel. It produces a total of 1,914 horsepower and just under 1,700 pound-feet of torque, or 2,300 newton meters if you're not Imperial.
1,700 pound-feet of torque.
Yeah,
That's like
that would
something
pull a
that,
mountain.
that's
like a
what-
boat.
That's like that was like the Ever Given or whatever you called it. It got stuck in the
Yeah.
Suez Canal. Had that much
It's got a
torque.
tow rope on that. Officially, it'll do 0 to 60 in a shade under 2 seconds, and it'll go on to 258 miles an hour top speed. And as we know, they put one up against they put one up against an SF90, and it was totally demolished.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was absolutely amazing. It was one of the videos that I'd flick through and go, oh, yeah, very good, very good, very good. But I actually went back and watched this like 3 or 4 times to see this thing take off the line.
It's unbelievable.
And even when it gave the Ferrari a good head start, it was just like, nah, you're not winning.
Just to see the reactions of the guy who's driving it. Too.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? Unfortunately, bad news, as is always the way with hypercars, it's going to be £1.73 million. So out of the league of many of us.
I'll buy one of them with my lottery winnings.
How much is an SF90? Is it $500,000 or something?
Something like that, yeah. Well, they were actually underpriced, weren't they? Because everyone, when they heard the SF90 was coming, thought it would be £1 million hypercar, like the Ferrari. And it wasn't. It was about half the price.
It is a bargain at 376 grand before you option it up.
You could have 6. You have 6 Ferraris.
Be the next one,
you have
maybe?
one a day. I'd still rather have that Rimac. Yeah, that'll be Scrooge McDuck over there.
Gary, did you see the interview that with Matty Rimac? And I'm trying to think, it was Late Break Show with Johnny Smith.
I did, yeah. Fascinating guy.
Unbelievable. The totally most down to earth, totally different character to Elon.
Yeah. And about 20 years younger than expected.
Yeah, he's early to mid 30s. Yeah. And the way Johnny and him were talking, it was just like sort of us sitting around the table shooting the shit. You know
I assume
what I mean?
he's some bazillionaire, is he?
No.
Just some dude that wanted to make fast cars?
Well, in fact, he was saying that he actually doesn't own any of the cars he makes, because the cars that he makes...
1.73 million, I'm freaking surprised.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what he said. He's laughing about it, saying, he's like, I own a Z4M Coupe, was it a 5 Series,
Yeah.
and he had a E30 M3 Evo 2 or something like that, and he's like, those are my cars. Like normal cool cars.
Nothing that the average kind of car guy could own, really.
Yeah,
but,
is he some sort of mad scientist, mad engineer, or something along those lines? I can make this work.
Something like that. But he's also a huge ambassador for Croatia. Apparently, it's like if foreign investors are coming in to meet the president of the country, they take him to Rimac, because Rimac is one of the things for Croatia, and he is all about Croatian innovation and all the rest. He's totally.
He takes him for spinning as Aventus.
I couldn't name another thing that came out of Croatia, to be honest.
No, I know, and that's what he said.
Djokovic, is he Croatian?
Pass.
No idea.
I think he might be.
Maybe. We'll take a chance on that one.
Yeah, I'll take. He sounds Croatian. Djokovic and Rimac.
Yeah, totally. So like he's out of this war-torn country where they were growing up with power blackouts and not enough food and all the rest to turn into this. It's just
the guy who's bought this car demolished a Ferrari.
Yeah,
like a super Ferrari.
Djokovic is Serbian. Whoops.
There you go. You've been a hit list summer now.
Yeah, that's pissed off the Serbians and the Croatians probably.
So what I highly recommend. We'll post that link to that interview with Johnny Smith in the show notes as well, because it's quite a story. Because he not only that, he's supplying powertrains to all the big OEMs. Mm-hmm. So it's just
he's going to go places for sure.
Unbelievable. Oh yeah, tell you another thing, and I meant to say this about when I was talking about shows and stuff. We've booked NEC Classic Car Show.
Yes, really looking forward to it. I've been many times, but I think this is. Have you been before, have you, Andy? Yes.
Yeah, once with you.
Yes.
What, at least once?
This will be the second time we've gone as a group, so I'm looking forward to it. Not just for the cars, but for the weekend's crack. So it'll be interesting to see now post-COVID environment what it's going to be like. It's as you know, even the NEC, it's a huge complex, and they use all the halls for these cars, and it could take you a full day just to walk around the length of it. And I don't know how it's gonna be wearing face masks and all the rest. So
Classic car beards on tour.
Classic car beards on tour, indeed.
The stuff I couldn't get over was it Silverstone run the auction at it, and I remember we were there before, and then standing on the screen was the was it Sierra Causey going for 125 grand or something like that, and now that's been surpassed by the price of stuff at the moment. It's just
the first time I went was with my dad, and he said, "I'm going to this classic show in England." This is years and years ago, and I assumed it was 50s and 60s cars, no real interest in it, but I went over anyway, and pleasantly surprised. There was loads of E30 M3s and RS Cosworths, all that kind of stuff, all the modern classics, and then obviously it's such a big show and such a big draw that all the manufacturers come in with new stuff. So a couple of years ago they had that brand new TVR Griffith, which is yet to be released. That was there, and the DB11 Aston Martin was brand new out. That was sitting there as well to be looked around. So it's got everything at the show really, and lots of memorabilia and stands it got as well.
Sorry about the noise, folks. That was me lifting a bottle of water and
cracking the whip.
I'm trying to take the top of it off, and it's just crushing the bits. So everyone's sitting in their car.
It is from the co-op.
It is from the
co-op. This is our cheap co-op water, yeah.
The cold water's dead on.
The bottles are just a little bit thinner.
There'll probably be a couple of record breakers at that show, the way the money's going.
Yeah,
Prices are going.
the auctions bit of it is fascinating. They normally have it, I think, on the Saturday, and the Silverstone bit is cordoned off, and you have to pay to get into it to actually look at the cars that you might want to bid on. So a lot of people don't pay, but we always stand around and they've got the screens, and you can watch the auction as it goes through and just see some of the cars jump up the insane prices. So it's kind of interesting to sit and watch. Yeah. And then bear in mind too that, like, say a car does go like a Cosworth for £80,000, there's then the Silverstone fee, the auction fee, there's a transaction fee. So in reality, maybe another 30% on top.
Jesus. Yeah, and it's just mad. Like, you talk about people watching an event like that, but when you're standing watching someone who's lifting the hand at 150, 300, 500 grand, you're like...
The most fun thing's actually when you're watching it, there's always some guy who's in China or somewhere, and he's bidding as well online. And they get in a bid more with someone over here, and you can see the guy stand in front of you getting angry, because he's losing out in the bid. And someone's just shouting in a bid at the last minute online.
There's a billionaire on the phone.
Bidding against the screen. Someone's clicking at the far end, just looking, going for it. It's absolutely mad.
So yeah, looking forward to that. That should be a good weekend.
It's November time, isn't it?
Yeah, first week of November.
Hopefully no more airlines go bust between now and then, so we can actually get over there. Yeah, absolutely awesome. And see the last weekend there was the player show at Goodwood. So it's great to see. It's a great spot if anyone ever gets a chance to go to Goodwood for player show, Festival of Speed, Revival, any of the meetings and then like that. It is just petrolhead mecca, and looks like there's some good pictures coming back from that.
I'm gonna have a rant.
Shoot.
It's about Ks. I know. I mentioned bloody Ks on every episode.
Then we talked through, I don't even know if it made the recording, we talked about can you name all the Kia models, and you were able to nearly knock out.
You were a dynamo that day.
I got a lot of them, like. I got more than I really should have, because I don't know what it is about bloody Ks. Well, we get the shit ones. The UK gets shit Ks.
Well, the Stinger I thought was alright.
The Stinger is the exception.
Yeah.
America gets the K900, which is an S-Class. S-Class, inverted commas. UK, nope. The Cadenza 5 Series competitor. UK, nope. The K5, which is a baby Stinger.
Okay.
Not in the UK. The Telluride, which is the best looking SUV available. Not sold in the UK. The Telluride is the best looking SUV.
Seriously?
Is that?
I'm going to show you.
I'm
going to show you a picture of it.
The top one, yeah.
Well, that is actually
the top one's got a Cadillac kind of look about it.
It has that really awful American design language where it's just square with square lights, square sides.
Butch looking them.
The back of it is beautiful, and of course in America it cost $45,000 for a fully loaded one, which is about £7.
With like a 6-litre V8.
Yeah, I think it's a 4.5 litre petrol.
But the best thing about Kia is they come seriously loaded anyway.
Yeah,
even in a basic poverty spec, if you want to call it that.
They should bung a 3 litre TDI in it and make it available for the UK market. Fantastic. But we're getting a new Sportage next year, and it's coming to the UK, and it's bloody fantastic. It's really nice looking. I'm going to show you a picture of it.
Let's see a photo.
Oh yeah, the Kia.
Yes,
yeah,
lovely.
That looks fantastic. I tell you what, I will eat my words earlier. I was talking about EVs. And that all the existing manufacturers are on the back foot. The manufacturers that are not on their back foot are Hyundai and Kia, because they are streets ahead. They are on Tesla's back door.
The EV6 GT, some point next year. I am a full fucking Kia fanboy now.
You seen the Ioniq 5?
Yeah.
The video Johnny Smith did, took it out into the field and plugged a bouncy castle into it.
Yep.
Absolutely unbelievable.
Pure class. Pure class.
And then I had the Kona EV, and it was a cracker car.
Yeah.
I'm going to do my best
not
to talk
for a while to a GT. There's no issues with Kias apart from maybe a bit of badge snobbery. That's really the only problem. I think the cars are brilliant.
And you get a massive warranty with them.
Massive warranty, well optioned, they're reliable, everything else.
I'm a full Kia fanboy.
When you speak to someone who spends their life selling second-hand cars, and you probably find that some sort of Korean cars in their own personal list because they know of the issues that they have with VAG group cars or PSA group cars or whatever else, and that up there with the Japanese stuff, the Korean stuff is probably the most reliable.
I mentioned this in the show before, the myth of German build quality.
No, it is a myth.
They are well engineered, but in terms of reliability of electronics and everything else, gearboxes, and DPF valves and all.
Bloody water bottle. I need a Homer Simpson style. I wonder if you could get a set of headphones which has an integrated water treatment system.
You get a big slurp then instead of a crack.
Yeah. I'm not going to talk about keys for at least 2 more episodes then. I think I've spoken about keys now.
Kias are good.
Keys are good.
Still less than Yaris's.
Kias are good, but I have yet to buy one with my own coin.
Yeah. Don't know whether I'd buy one.
You leased one for a couple of years, Gary, for the family, and
Yeah.
great job.
Brilliant.
The
Not a
EV,
single issue.
EV6 GT thing looks cool, but I don't know how much it would be, and it's probably going to be reasonably expensive.
It'd be a lease job, like, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Well, probably less than a Tesla. Doesn't get the Tesla snobbery.
There is something appealing about going and buying a 5-year-old Kia and still has the warranty
It's me getting an email
from Kia.
from Kia. Please talk about Kias more.
Well, I actually just got a unbelievably from a Facebook message there from Kevin Daly from Daly's Hyundai, of course, offering me an i30N for a test drive, which I did actually ask for before this podcast, and fair play to the man, he's coming through with the goods. So maybe in a couple of shows' time we'll know what that's like, and maybe do a back to back with the Yaris and see what it's like.
Get the GoPro in and give it that proper review.
Totally. So, one thing we haven't got a chance to do in the podcast yet is answer some questions from our listeners and the forum members. Of course, we asked in the forum, and we've been absolutely besieged by questions. The good news is, I didn't read any of them. You guys did, thank God.
So this would be good. We get your answers on the fly here.
Yeah.
It's been too busy buying cars.
I know, exactly. Too busy swanning around in Porsches and
Aye.
Ferraris.
My head has been in the clouds a bit recently.
Like Rockefeller. No, anyway. Quattrick asks, best and worst cars we've each owned. Then same again for cars we've not owned but have driven. Well, I have driven, for me, absolutely bugger all. But worst car, super easy. Mercedes E230 Elegance in the mundane silver. I was doing a fair bit of driving up and down to Dublin at the time, so I wanted something comfortable and automatic. I once drove the majority of Dublin to Newry route with my feet in the passenger seat.
Oh, nice.
Impressive.
Yeah. It was so crap. It looked like a value cab, and the central locking didn't work, so I left it unlocked most of the time, and still nobody stole it. It was a piece of shit. Utter garbage. Brutal. Best car, probably my Audi A5, surprisingly. The one that needed an engine after a few thousand miles, but I really, really liked that car. I loved it. Loved everything about it. I sold it to a guy who shipped it off to Malaysia.
Why does it need an engine?
It had the TFSI oil consumption problem
Oh, right, okay.
and fucked itself.
Was it old?
No, it was brand new.
See, if you bought a Kia, you wouldn't have that problem.
Exactly.
Did Audi put an engine into it for you?
Yes, they did. After 3,000 miles.
Well, as they should. That's unbelievable.
As they should. It was.
And then you were so disgusted, you sent it to, where did you say, Malaysia?
It's got sent to Malaysia. Yeah, a guy
Right.
bought it off.
Never to
me
be seen again.
And shipped it. He shipped it with my number plate on it as well, so it was gone. My R90 CKO number plate. I can't even get it back. I can't get it back
Clocked
until
on
the
the
car
speed
comes
camera
back
and
into the UK,
Singapore or
and it's
something.
never coming back. So I'm completely buggered. I asked them, and they said no. Oh, yeah, pretty devastating. I wish I'd done that.
I wish I'd done my homework for this question because I am now struggling, and I hope, Gary, you're going to buy me loads of time because you've driven
I'll buy you a
everything.
good 10 seconds here if I can. Best car I've owned, probably the E92 BMW M3.
Good choice.
Not the fastest or the most modified or the most well-spec car, but like all M3s, its party piece is that it manages to tick a lot of boxes while still feeling somewhat special and having that M-car magic shine through. It just did everything well. And by contrast, I've had a Golf R, which in a similar way does a jack of all trades thing and is a great DOE, but it just doesn't have that same unique appeal that would make you get up earlier to go for a drive on a Sunday morning. Worst car, this is like really going back a long time, but probably an old Corsa SRI 8 valve I had, which just did nothing for me. It was ropey as hell, handled like a banana, just rattly, falling apart, everything. And special mention for the Carlos Sainz GT4, which was an ST185 model, if I recall.
Pop-up headlight.
Not the worst car, probably the most disappointing. Just bought that car thinking, oh, this is a rally hero, a true icon, and did nothing for me. Didn't feel anyway fast or exciting or
There was
fun.
a guy on the forum had a black one, and we're going back a long time, maybe 2003, 2004. And I think his name was Sai.
Yeah.
And I remember going down a back road in Portadown in his GT4. It was unbelievable. He could steer that thing. Yeah. And back then I thought it was just...
Was it tuned?
Yes, it was.
Mine was totally stock. That's
Yeah.
probably the problem.
His was a flying machine.
Yeah, I remember yours, guy. The it was like that greeny blue colour,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
yeah.
It was a beautiful looking car. And then you had an ST205 after that as well.
Almost immediately after, you had the next one, and that was a totally different car, much better. It had about 60 horsepower more, in fairness, but just felt more lively on the road, more agile, everything.
Yeah. You see, there's 3 cars that I would love to have owned. So even though you say it's disappointing, the ST185, the pop-up headlight GT4, then you had the ST25, the Sega Rally WRC version, awesome.
Which had pretty much interestingly the same power as your Yaris,
Yeah,
and 4-wheel drive and all that, but was
Yeah.
a 2-litre turbo.
yeah, true. And then of course you had a 6-speed manual twin turbo Supra as well.
It's going to burst into tears now every time.
Cars you regret selling.
Had.
And Rick's also asked here, cars you've not owned but have driven.
Bugger
Best
all.
and worst.
Nothing. Haven't driven anything.
No, you're absolutely useless.
If I've driven it, I bought it.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. Yeah, you're going to be here all day because you have driven everything.
I've driven everything. I'm not going to even start to go into them all, but Bentley GT was probably the most impressive one I've driven. Borrowed that for my wedding and drove it to the church, and it was something else. Just classy and luxurious and elegant, and so much power too. I always thought they'd be slow then because they're so heavy, but actually pulls like a tank. Really did.
Well, the most impressive car I've been in that you've picked me up in is definitely the 850 CSI.
Oh yeah.
V12 manual. Was it 380 brake, something like that?
Yeah.
What a car.
I'd say that Ferrari has now superseded it on everything else.
Yeah, well, I know, but with the Ferrari's just it's just another level for me. Something I've driven, but it's probably a softer Ferrari. There's probably 488 Pista is like a track. I can
A race weapon.
only imagine what those things drive like, especially the tops opened up on track. Must be just absolutely unreal.
Someday.
I don't have good answers for those questions. I have to say though, my speaking of GT4, my GT4 is pretty special. It blows me away every time I drive it, and on track it is unbelievable. And yet you can still use it as you can still drive it to Dublin and back.
Yeah.
Well, the day we ran it, it's perfectly comfortable.
Yeah, that's right. We took it in that run.
Fast as balls.
Yeah, goes really well, and it just has its range of talents are so broad compared to the Lotus, although it would need to be because of the price difference. But
I think Porsche had a sweet spot with that model.
I don't know about the worst car. Certainly I thought my Evora was equally great as a road car but disappointing as a track car, and when I bought it to be both, it really missed, and that's why I changed it for the Exige. But I'll have a think about that and see what else I come up with, because I've had a few things. Oh yes, I know a couple of disappointments. EP3 Civic Type R. Oh, that's half the forum against me. I'll tell you another. So I owned an EP3 Civic Type R after owning EK VTI Civics and all the rest, and having an Integra Type R, which was incredible. Integra Type R was a high watermark, and the EP3 was just poor in comparison. Mark III VR6 Golf, absolute bag of shit.
They weigh about 45 tons, those.
Yep. They're just like an anvil with wheels.
The noise.
The noise, yeah.
I drove Pablo's Corrado. I was never in a VR6 Golf, but the Corrado had the same engine when it was
2.9 versus 2.8.
0.1 of a litre bigger for some reason.
The Corrado is a much better car, I think.
It sounded fantastic.
Yeah,
That's one thing about it.
No, Mark III VR6 Golf, absolute disappointment. Especially after driving something like a Mark II 16 valve Golf GTI, which is a great driving, a good chassis. Or the cars of the day, the other contemporary cars of the day, like a 306 Rally, which is a much better car. Back when Peugeot were just making absolute barnstormers. Other disappointments are something like the VR4 Galant, which is also a terrible car.
They're under par as balls.
Oh, they're awful.
They're terrible.
Absolutely awful.
But you know what I find common? The disappointments. It's the ones that sit between about 200 brake and 240 because they're not quite reaching the stratosphere of all them, the M3s and Supras are up around 280.
Yep.
But you got on them expecting them to be quick. I think that's always we felt let down.
Yeah. So I actually thought when you saw the police cruising around in VR4s, and it's like, oh, how cool are those guys?
They could catch anything.
And like now
They're
it's like,
probably tuned to the balls.
God help them. I know they would need to be tuned to the balls. 'Cause they were awful.
Mitsubishi GTO, before I forget, was out in one of them. Heap of shit. Never again wanted to be in one, but thought I'd give another one a second chance just in case it was a bad example. No. That was shit too.
I remember someone telling me back in the day when GTOs were sort of semi-popular, the parts for them were a clean fortune, an absolute fortune. So you'd see them rotting beside someone's house.
And everything broke on them too. This is the thing.
I need this thing. Oh, it's like $4,000. Oh fuck, can't have that.
You would get a bulk discount in the parts at least.
Was it a twin turbo or the V6 you drove?
Twin turbo.
The twin turbo. So I've driven the V6 and it was the ordinary MyVac or whatever it is. I've driven an FTO MyVac as well. And the worst thing about driving an MyVac versus VTEC is VTEC exists, which is was infinitely better back in the day.
And VTEX didn't blow up. My
No.
VTEX did.
Yeah. Nightmare. But sure.
This is one for YouTube because it's RMSy and it's going back to the grand old days.
It's not Bangor Cruisy.
It's not Banker Cruisy, so I don't know or I don't care. Did you believe Gambit? RMS is approaching its 20th birthday. 20th birthday? God, we all know.
Unbelievable.
Did you believe it would last this long? What do you think makes RMS forum activity stay so strong while the majority of others, both local and national, have disappeared over the years as social media became mainstream? And then where do you see it in another 20 years? Because I remember not so long ago, Edition 38 disappeared. And Edition 38 was a big forum.
It was big. Yeah.
A huge forum. And the parts were amazing and the cars were amazing. And it just disappeared.
Went up in smoke.
Yeah, just gone. Logged on one day, not there anymore.
I have no idea because I've no idea why RMS got so popular. Things just sort of happened, but I certainly know that, like, I still really enjoy the forum because, like, I wouldn't be doing this. In fact, doing this show is great because it's like a way to talk to people in a way that I don't think I could post because of the role that I have to play in the forum of sort of caretaking the place and looking after it, making sure it's going. But I like all sorts of sides of it. I like it being sort of like a pub or a coffee shop or somewhere where people can come and talk about stuff that they like to talk about, and I think we do that quite well in RMS. We keep the conversation going, and we support all the other clubs. So you have Club GTI or I Left Base or whoever you are. All those people can coexist with RMS as well, and all those people can go to their certain events and still post about it in RMS, and then like the technical side of it, like the forum, I like the challenge of the technical challenge of keeping the forum up to date, but then it's difficult as well. Getting the blog's a big thing that I've always tried to get people interested in, and I really want to grow that and try and if you ask me what I want to do for the future, it would be to get more people involved in that, because I actually think there's a lot of talent on the forum that really could be showcasing their wares, some great photographers and all the rest.
There's some unbelievable people on the forum. You ask a question and there's an expert in it, or someone who has 5 degrees in that particular subject and is willing to go, I'll help you.
Yeah, and even the standard of cars and the members' cars section is just off the charts. Yeah. Right, between the wealth of knowledge and the cars that people drive, and generally it's a good atmosphere and people are having good crack and all the rest. Yes, there's sometimes people take things a little bit close to the bar, and sometimes people take things too personally and all the rest.
Get that in every forum, it's not exclusive to RMS or anything.
But I don't know what has kept it going, and never mind kept it busy. There's a lot of places now, that have just died a death and pass.
I think we're probably falling in the sweet spot of a little bit too old for social media groups and things like that, so we'd rather use the forum rather than fucking about on Facebook trying to find this and that and how do you sort by new. And
here's the problem with groups: you can't find anything. If you need to know, right, how do you, have you ever had a problem with your driving license and blah blah blah? If someone posted that, yesterday on a Facebook group, you'll see it. But if they posted that 2 months ago,
Yeah, it's
you'll
good.
never find it.
Impossible.
Whereas that's the good thing about the forum. You go in and ask, and then those Facebook groups are quite closed. I think a forum is a bit more inclusive, and then suddenly if you go and reply to something that you're interested in, then the emails go out to all the people who the alerts go out. Suddenly someone replies, and then that information's there forever, and it's on Google and all the rest. You just don't find that on social media.
It's gone. The forum is fantastic to use. I've been there for a number of years now as well, after migrating over from the enemy.
Yeah, I haven't been there from day one, but it was probably day two. It was very short after you set it up, and certainly actually did think it would go the distance. I always thought the forum was very well run, well moderated, and a very passionate user base. People here are also very helpful for each other and happy to share knowledge, and you can see that in some of the threads on RMS. It's nothing to do with cars, it's just helping people out. There's the mental health thread, there's offering services that people specialise in, things like that there. So
the struggles that people have had with COVID and all the rest, and some people just trying to help them to work it out. That's fantastic.
Even yesterday, Ben put up a thing about quitting drinking.
That's right.
Poured his heart out, and a couple other people went, "Yeah, absolutely, well done."
Yeah.
I did the same thing.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't get that on Facebook. No one gives a shit,
No.
because you don't connect with people as you would.
I always find a lot of club forums, but are just forums, and that's the thing. RMS is more of a community feel.
Yeah, you'd notice that when it was on any of the owner club forums, it was always, this is off topic. It's not related to the Ford Focus Mark II. Oh, fuck right, okay.
Yeah. Although sometimes in RMS people think, oh, why can't they talk about politics or the troubles, and it's like, well, because your viewpoint could flip in.
Because 50% of people aren't going to like it.
No,
Yeah.
you have to concede there's going to be contentious stuff, and that's some things will always just end up in a row.
Yeah, and that's it. So that's why some of that stuff we just can't have.
And you have the benefit of hindsight. You've spotted these things before and how they've ended up. So
well, that's the other side of it too. Come with 20 years of flipping baggage. We've been down this road before, so we'll just knock that on the head. But hopefully, for the most part, people are free to talk about whatever they want, as long as they have
if you're respectful,
a wee bit of courtesy for their fellow humans, which some people
Yeah.
do lack a wee bit.
Just don't be a dick
Yeah,
if you can help it.
just be dead on.
Just be dead on.
I'll add also, give Andy a big head here, that he has consistently put in the effort to keep running a tight ship and make sure the form software is up to date. Lots of useful features, and I know you've done like loads of upgrades over the years, and that's another reason I think why people do come back. It's being able to find stuff. It's using all those features. It's
Can I just
smooth
say,
and easy to use.
I hate the members forum. I hate it.
You don't like the way
I
they
hate the layout. It's impossible to find anything. Plus, if someone has, like, oh, this is my Rover that I've done 75 pages worth of modifications, but the first image doesn't work, it doesn't load anything, she can't see what it is. She's like, I'm not reading that. Balls to that, please.
But if it was a bit of text, you would
Please,
click on it.
please change it back.
We could change it back.
Pretty please. This is a weird one because I never really got this. I think this is maybe before my time.
It was Pac-Man days, this question.
Well, is Pac-Man Rupert?
Yep.
Or what? Yeah,
He was.
Pac-Man was Rupert.
You believed to be Rupert.
So this is someone's pseudonym on the forum. Multiple usernames, which are of course verboten, but we do enjoy people who think they can outsmart the system.
I have two. I have Rocco and not Rocco. Pablo shouted at me for doing it. So, Ross Big Pimp asks, is Rupert still in the dungeon? As the only non-mod in the podcast team, I'm intrigued. Is there a dungeon? Is Rupert still in there? Who else is in there? Do you have a secret forum to talk about us RMS regular peasants? And most importantly, how the fuck did Lions get made a mod before me?
Well,
Can I answer the Lions thing first?
yeah.
There was kind of there's a level you have to attain, and you have to collect
I'm the most liked member on RMS.
No, you have to collect 24 catalytic converters. And you become a mod. Sorry, Lions.
That's the greatest story ever.
Unbelievable. Well, like, do we have a section where we talk about other users? We have a section where we talk about particular incidents on the forum and how to handle them. And you will find, just to add to that, generally when there's something going on the forum, if it's not a simple issue that I can decide, I will put the question to the rest of the team, or vice versa. They'll put it, and we'll all discuss it to make sure that personalities. We're trying to be as objective as possible, and personalities don't come into it, because that's always you always handle it the best way is by maybe sounding it off right. This Rupert user is clearly taking the piss.
So Rupert is still in the dungeon.
So Rupert is still in the dungeon, and
is the dungeon nearly full? Is there many people in the dungeon?
I can't talk about the dungeon due to my non-disclosure agreement. I'd like to tell you.
Lions.
Right, we're going to be here all night. Next.
Dave Eager asks where the car scene is going, or what does your average younger generation car not get up to? We don't really seem to attract them on the forum. When I first viewed here, there were R-plate pictures and queries about passenger tests and stuff. Now we buy Porsches, well Andy does, and talk about what wiper blades to buy. It's got very disconnected at times, and certainly nearly fully disconnected to any young drivers. I think that's easy. The R drivers of RMS have stayed there and got old, and they're now driving Ferraris and Porsches and AMG GTs, and
that's the answer. But it's a good point he raises. You know, maybe we could do more in the forum to appeal to younger drivers and entice them in.
And the thing is as well, not only have we got older and moved with it, but we're of the forum generation.
Yeah.
Whereas it's getting people, well, why would I use a forum when I can use a social group? And it's hard to sell that. Well, you get more out of a forum if you use it.
And we modified back then because we could, because insurance wasn't $5,000 to do anything.
True.
And kids today, quite well, rightfully or wrongfully, aren't willing to bankrupt themselves like we did.
But at the same time, I think there are some lurkers. There are definitely some younger members of the forum. But could we be doing more, David? Absolutely. And all ears as to how we do that, because we're certainly not turning people away.
For example, Steve 750, who Steve buys all the BMWs, he is surprisingly young.
Oh, is he?
He's like 22.
See, there you go.
And he's rolling around and he's got two 750s and a plethora of other old BMW crap that
Brilliant.
Yeah.
we slag him off for.
Well, and if there's one thing we could hope for, that someone who is really into cars and home projects and all the rest, that we could pick them up.
He is super knowledgeable about old BMWs and doesn't mind turning his hand, but shockingly young, because he's on the WhatsApp group complaining that he can't get insurance because he's not 25.
Unbelievable.
Well, why did you buy two 750s, you donkey?
Fair play to him.
Look, that's something you work out after you buy the car. You buy the car,
clearly.
and then
He likes buying them in England and then going, oh, how do I get it back from England? What clay do I get? What boat do I get?
I would say too, obviously the car and modifying scene is, you know, it's gone down considerably from the days that we were kind of doing it, and EVs have become more popular. So maybe young people nowadays just aren't modifying cars, and they don't feel the need to go on and discuss this in forums and talk. You know, you still have car enthusiasts, but not in the same way. And then you have social media like Facebook has grown, and you have more smaller meets, cars and coffee meets and things like that there. So it's a combination of factors. But I think, you know, the fact that RMS is still going strong and still attracts plenty of new members every year, it's, you know, it's a testament to it.
And our next questioner is Big Pete, today's host, and he's come up to talk to us here. He's taken, he set down the buff for a minute. Pete, thanks very much for having us here.
No problem.
And looking after the Yaris for a few days. So, first of all, I want to know, what are you going to do to my car?
So, when you get a brand new car, getting protection on it right from the get-go, and more importantly, not letting the dealership touch it, is basically protecting what you spent all your money on and making your life a lot easier going forward. So what we're doing with your car is what we call our new car prep, where we get rid of all of the iron fallout contamination from it being transported essentially, any other bonded contamination, and then we machine polish it. So that does two different things. Gets rid of any imperfections from the factory, especially those are pretty much a hand-built car, so there's going to be abrasions where people have been manhandling it essentially. And then it also improves the finish of it, so it'll look sharper than it does now. And then after that, it's about putting the protection on it, so you're getting Crystal Serum Ultra, which is our highest level of ceramic protection. Wheels will get coated with C5 wheel armour, and then we'll coat the glass and interior, basically a coating for every different surface. So just means that it's simple wash maintenance from that point forward. And it'll look a lot better than a car that has a coat of wax, for example.
Happy days. And as I asked you before bringing the car down, I actually told Toyota just leave everything on it, so it's come here with basically the shrink wrap still on it, you know.
Perfect way to get a new car delivered. That's where most of the damage happens, is at the dealership, and it's because they just don't have the time or the equipment to prepare a car properly. And especially on today's car, paint is not what it used to be. So one poor wash is enough to put defects in that can actually be now too deep to fix. So getting it at this stage means the car has the best chance of being perfect right from the start. So it's definitely, if you're getting a new car, it's the way to get it. Awesome. is like that. And it's not that expensive, especially compared to Superguard or Life Shine or all the balls that dealerships offer.
Here, don't hold back. But here, no, that's awesome, and like more than happy to have the car here. And thanks so much for hosting the podcast. Absolutely mind blowing that Colin Gethin is up here as well. We heard someone come up the stairs, and I was like, fuck, imagine if he came in, lose our shit. Absolutely awesome. So, and as I've said already, I'd love to have you on the show. Don't tell us about what you're driving, by the way. So we're talking about that earlier on. So you've
too many cars.
Yeah. So
I was going to say you must be like 6 or 7 of them.
So you've got the yellow Cayman.
Yeah. So that's my baby. I'll never sell that car. That's
2.7, is it?
Yeah, 2.7. Yeah.
With a kit on it, the black wheels. And
it's far from a standard car now. Quite a lot of suspension work. I put a limited slip diff in it.
Brilliant.
Just if they ever made a GT4 that generation, that's kind of what I wanted to build when I started with that car. Except I didn't want the chocolate 3.4 engine, so at 2.7 was a safer base to start with. But yeah, that's the baby. And then every day I have a Range Rover, one of the full fats. It's currently broke a crank in half, so that's
oh my god,
doing what Range Rover's doing.
Range Rover stuff.
Standard JLR product.
Yeah, so 3 years of trouble-free driving, and now it needs an engine. But
in trouble.
So, and most of the time driving an M4. So
yeah, and we were talking about this as we're coming up the stairs there, that they are so quick. And then you were saying, well, yours isn't just a standard car.
No, it's I think mine's around 520 and around that. So it's ridiculously quick. Far too fast in the wet. But
yeah,
it's the first car I've had in a long time where I still haven't got used to the power. You know, normally you get used to it and it feels slow after a while. This car hasn't ever got to that stage now. So.
DCT.
Yeah, DCT.
Yeah, or they have so much go. Even standard. It's the amount of torque and the way it just comes in the middle of the rev range, and it just brings the traction light on.
It makes them quite hard to drive though, which like I didn't like them when they first. I've always loved the look of them. I'm a big M car guy, obviously, and when they first came out and I drove them, they actually really disappointed me because I was used to the earlier cars, especially the 46s and the E92s, where you really have to wring their neck, but it makes them a really nice car to drive like a hooligan. Where that isn't just so easy to drive like a hooligan. It can scare you quite easily.
If you go sitting in heavy rain and traffic and you just light it up without even trying.
Yeah, coming on the motorways and stuff, you have to really feed the throttle in. You can't just bury it the way you could with the older stuff. But I like it a lot, and I didn't think I would. So
yeah, I think they're especially at the moment, they're fantastic value. Like, what else do you buy for the money?
Super buy, like it really is a super buy.
Yeah,
and I don't really see them dropping a huge amount. So
what do you think of the new ones? It's a topic we've discussed many times.
They're not as bad in person.
They're not. Those grills aren't as bad at
once
all.
There's a number plate on it, kind of breaks them up a bit.
Yeah.
I think the M3 is a nicer looking car. It hides the strange lines a bit better, but I'll see when I drive one. A 4-wheel drive M car feels so wrong.
It feels strange, I'm sure. Have you been on a few of the other ones?
And they're heavier too. They're 1,700 kilos or something
Yeah.
like that. You know, so they're a brute of a car, but they're 500 brake out of the box.
Yeah, I had a race with one on, we'll say, a private road, and he
Santa
was,
Pod when you were there
Yeah,
last week.
he was. I think the guy was quite surprised that an old model one blew him under the weeds, but it actually was quicker than I expected it to be. Where,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
I thought I'd really blow him into the weeds, and it wasn't just as bad as that. So it'd be good to get a driving one, if see what they're really like.
Yeah, I remember when the M4s first came out, and I had the 335D at the time mapped, and I saw it come up behind me. I was sitting behind me in traffic, and then I went for it, and he just went past me like I was standing still. And I was like, "What?"
Where if
Just-
you'd have raced an E92 V8 M3, the 335D probably would have given it a very hard time.
The same car would wipe the floor with the same generation of RS5 or something like that,
Yeah.
you know. So it just gives you the indication of how fast those cars are.
Yeah,
Like they're just
they're crazy. So
yeah, well they're a quarter mile in 12 seconds out of the box or something like that. You know, it's not slow. Not slow. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Look, I look forward to getting my Yaris back because I have done like 10 miles in it. I've driven it from Toyota to home and then to here, and then once you've it coded and all the rest, can't wait to get it out. Like,
and then you've
get
a
it running.
1,000 dull miles to do.
600 dull miles.
600's not so bad.
That'd probably be 100. So have you anything planned, Pete? Did I see you were doing something about a safe wash day?
Yeah, we're gonna do. These mornings are free. So basically, it's how to maintain a coded car. It's something that people always get wrong. They do far too much and mix and match their brands, and that's how people end up being disappointed with their coatings because they don't listen to the advice of how to maintain it. So these days, it's an hour and a half, 2 hours of your time, and it will show you the exact way how to do it, and it really is simple and quick. So we try and do them Saturday mornings, so it gives people an opportunity to be off work and things, and we'll dates that. I would say we'll be doing it middle of July and around then. So
Awesome.
and then
Where would people find information on that if they need to?
I'll be posting it on RMS, and I'll be posting it on our socials as well. So
Yeah.
you keep an eye out on them, and then hopefully we'll get another Cars and Coffee meet. But we'll probably do that towards August. There's a lot of car stuff now starting to happen,
Yeah.
which is great.
Yeah, that's good. I was chatting to Gethin from GTI NI about this Euro Treffen show up in Larne and
Looks
stuff.
good, yeah.
it looks awesome. So no, there's plenty to come. But another thing we want to ask you. So you've actually asked us a question on the forum, but you're actually physically here. So
Yeah.
you didn't ask the question.
I think I asked was what if you could go back to the day that we all came from modifying cars, what modification would you want to bring back again?
Larry body kits. I love the Larry body kit.
No, they were terrible.
As much fiberglass
Some were good.
as possible. Wings West.
Wings West
Kingdom,
kits for
Kingdom
Civics.
Developments.
Or
Gary
like Veilside or something like that. Yeah.
Gary's still waiting on his Kingdom Developments spoiler.
Yes.
Gary Young, remember him with the Fiesta?
Oh yeah.
Remember?
Yeah, he didn't get it painted because he was waiting on the spoiler. 20 years later, that still hasn't arrived.
Lost in the post.
That was the thing too back then. Like you couldn't afford, you could afford the kit, or you couldn't afford to get it painted, or someone let you down, or if you weren't forcing yourself to get it ready for a show. Although some people just threw stuff into shows without getting stuff painted
Yeah.
and all too.
The thing I loved about back then was though you went to a car show and everything was different. You know, yes, there were trends, but you could spend time really appreciating each car. Some cars were horrible, obviously, but still they were so totally different from each other.
Wasn't
Also
just
love
air and
the-
wheels.
Yeah,
I still love the airbrushing that you would see in a lot of them. You don't really see much of that now.
yeah.
Yeah,
Some
true.
of it was real talent.
Audio would be the thing I miss the most.
You're
I,
right.
I actually got the guys at Blackline to put when I bought that M4 didn't have the Harman Kardon, and I like my sounds in a car, so I got them and they put Rockford Fosgate stuff in it. It's got a sub and all in the boot now, and it was like this is so good. It just took me back to
Yeah. I've had Gary doing a wee bit of work on the GT4 as well.
Is it Gary McCarroll?
Yeah.
He is incredibly talented.
Unbelievable.
He is incredibly talented.
Yeah. So the audio stuff, but the audio stuff's really difficult to do now too because
Yeah,
of the way of
because
the infotainment system and all the rest.
yeah. The good thing is though they can integrate it. Like the system they put in the M4 uses all of the. You wouldn't know it was in the car.
Yeah.
They use an Audison processor and it sorts everything out. So,
Class.
It's good to have good music again.
Yeah.
and a sub.
Yeah, oh yeah, awesome. Yeah, vibrating the windows.
I'm not having
Absolutely.
to tear the car apart to get it.
Class. So, any mods you'd like to see back, Gary?
Well, I was going to say body kits, but Craig beat me to it, so my one's a bit of a jokey one. I would say go faster stripes. So I grew up working in my dad's garage, and part of the prep for selling a used car, which was the usual service, teacup polish, all that, usually involved adding stripes up the side. And go back to the 80s here. And it was a dark art, see, trying to apply them originally in the car and get them on straight. You know, you could have 50 goes at it before you would get it right. And then you would get better over time.
I
It's
thought
easy.
part of that was, that's not particularly in your case, but in general cases, use that so the painter had somewhere to paint to.
That was the right point. You know.
I remember taking a couple of stripes off an GSI carton we had, and it was just, it's like, oh, yep, there's the lacquer right across the door.
So when my dad had totally mastered it, I just remember like he had guys working there, and he'd get them to go put a strip on, they'd be taking like an hour, and they couldn't get it straight, and it was halfway up the door and all this here, and he'd go over it and do it with his eyes closed, you know, and I could never work out how he could do it so quick. And then they obviously died off, you know, but it was kind of a funny thing at the time.
But some of that stuff too, you can get now from the factory. So you can buy like a Mini, and you take a few boxes and get all sorts of shit stuck to it.
Yeah.
Or Mustang or whatever else, you know.
Well, the thing now, I suppose, is the stripes down the bonnet they get in the Mustang and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They've been around a long time. They never really died off. They're still popular.
Does anyone remember the blue Renault Megane Scenic? Used to go around Bangor with the white Viper stripes on. You won't have to remember too far because that was me. 17 Viper striped by mother's Megane Scenic.
Oh my
It was
god.
a supercharged V8 in it, wasn't it?
It was a 1.6 petrol.
Nice.
Fucking, I don't think I've ever told anybody that one.
Well, I did put neons on the Corolla. And I saw you slagging a G6 Corolla the other day, and I was like, it's true, but it hurts.
I had the misery of it. When I was a car dealer, so when I left working with Robert, and I wanted to do detailing full time, but there wasn't enough work, so I had a car dealer as well, and I bought a G6 Corolla that was pink, and I was like, I'll buff that, be bright red again, and I'll make a fortune. And it was only when we got it back and realising it in the doors, it was actually that was the colour of the car. So,
No amount of buffing.
no.
But you're doing some sort of stock car thing or something like that there? Was that what it was for?
We're doing a group of friends, we're doing like one of these budget banger rallies, so we're doing Cork and back in 2 days, and the car can't be any more than 500 quid, and it's amazing what you can't buy for £500 anymore now. So
Yeah, £500 buys you nothing.
you can buy any amount of mundane stuff, but you can't buy anything interesting whatsoever. They've bought some pretty interesting cars so far, but I'm not having any luck at all.
It's a bit like a rusty nuts thing, isn't it?
Oh, why is rusty nuts?
£500 limit in it too.
Yeah,
Something like that.
but that's at the price. Sure, the price of stuff at the moment too. The car market's flipping bonkers.
It's madness, yeah.
Absolutely mental. So it is. We were talking about those Yarises. They're all going for overs and all at the moment, and it's crazy. You can't buy anything, or anything you do buy now. It's hard to know, well, is the arse going to fall out of everything, or what's going to happen when all the world opens again? And
Yeah, at the minute people are just spending money that they can't spend on holidays.
yeah, I know. I'm one of them. Oh dear.
This question kind of nearly suits because there's a budget involved. LMC, hopefully I've pronounced that correct. What would you choose for a budget sub £3,000 modern classic?
I tell you what, a couple of years ago we used to be able to buy a 205 GTI for £3,000, but not anymore. They even them they went up.
I bought one for 500 and roller painted it for Lane's rallies.
There was a 5-door Mark II Golf GTI 8-valve on Collecting Cars there, sold a couple of months ago for 2,800 quid or something like that. I thought that was cheap. 160k on it or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's a hard one because you need to be getting a real bargain, but you buying a real flipping nail.
I think I'd go Clio 172.
Yeah, hard push to buy one for that price now.
I've seen a couple of thoroughly ropey ones on eBay.
Yeah. If he wants to spend 3,000 to 30 rupee one, I'll sell him.
So not only has Craig found the car, but we've actually put for sale on the show.
Or I showed the guys this before and they hadn't seen it. It was the Mark 1 TT. This one's in Car and Classic. You may have seen this before, Pete. It is oh shit, I've flipped it over, rear spoiler.
Oh, that's bound to be really rare.
Yeah, not too many of them around because they're all upside down.
Is it a 3.2 V6?
No, it's a 1.8 225.
Decent. I had a V6.
I didn't mention that for any reason.
No, I had one. It was a good car.
I know you had that.
It had a good chassis.
I had a 1.8 225.
I just felt a wee bit choked, that engine. I always felt that 3.2 V6 now had like 240 horsepower, and you think the BMW equivalent was up around 320 or something out there, so it just felt like it needed a wee bit more go. But
does it or does it not come with a free membership to the Last Owners Club?
it does. Always included. I saw mine, remember a few weeks ago, someone was sending around an ad for a TT, and I looked and I thought, holy shit, that's the same rage that I had in mine. Mine was silver, same as that one you just put up. This one was black with white arches, a big high-rise spoiler in the back, and 22-inch wheels, and had shitloads done it. So someone has totally butchered it.
Yeah, so don't bring all those mods back.
I remember Gary Duff had a 3.2 V6 Sport one, which was, he had like 550 horsepower or something. It was crazy quick.
Supercharger or something.
Yeah, it was mad quick.
So maybe a Mark 1 TT with an odd engine, maybe a nice 3.2 V6 auto or something. Did they do an auto in them? Something that really no one
DSG.
wants.
Something
Was
like
it
that.
DSG?
Yes,
Or
early
maybe it makes
DSG,
it alright.
Electronic, was that the newer ones?
I think that oh shit, it's upside down spoiler TT's class, $2.5 grand. But
I don't know.
you'll flip it
But
upside
you
down.
could die.
It's
Yeah,
basically.
stressing the old classic status. Like, I don't know how.
Be 20 years old.
Just because a car is 20 years old doesn't mean it's.
The Mark 1 TT is a classic. Shut your face.
It's like the Beetle of that era. It's like the dashboard is like from the front of the car to the back seat.
Not
Ridiculous.
the
You ever try to
revised
sit in
Golf
those
you're thinking
things?
of? Or the revised Beetle,
It's
remember
like you just rest your kneecaps in the
It
front
helps.
fence.
It does help if you're a normal shape.
My suggestion was actually EB3 Type R Civic, which I know you probably all want to say, no, anyone could buy a Civic, but I think they are a good car. 200 horsepower,
I think for that sort of money,
high revving engine, which you won't get anymore.
even though I answered what car one of my hated cars was the EP3 was.
Would you get one for $3 grand?
Just about.
Yeah.
If you haggle, but
There's no haggling at the moment. The price goes up as soon as you go and
Pete, what about you? I know you're in the money for a bright yellow Hyundai Amiga at the minute.
Yeah,
So
high Amiga, and Amiga's floating my boat.
that's probably where it's going to be.
If I was buying something at that money, I'd probably buy a Mark 1 MX-5.
good shout.
I didn't even think about the MX-5.
But under $3 grand, how rotten is it going to be for that?
They don't seem to have hugely appreciated it yet, but they're all rotten. Like my race car was, it passed MOT, and then when we took it apart, it was so rotten. So
Yeah.
even a good one doesn't necessarily mean it's a good one.
Yeah, look, I will give you that. They are a classic. What's Mark 1? When did they come out? 89 or something?
89,
32-year-old car now.
Question for you, Andy, because you have some experience in this. Mark 2 Golf GTI. Would you get one of them?
You'd never get one.
Not from your uncle or this?
No, I know. I couldn't buy the one in the family for loving their money, but I did try. But I don't think you would never. Would you get even a plain Mark? You could maybe get a Mark 2 Golf driver.
Yeah.
Like Cook bought a nice, but it's not really. Is it really a classic?
Mark 2, yeah, Mark 2 is definitely a classic.
Even if it's not a GTI or a.
Wouldn't be the most exciting.
No.
The driver's got a 1.3, is it?
I don't know.
I think it's a 1.3.
Like 70 brake or something.
Yeah.
Might feel exciting because cars are so soft nowadays.
It'd be like,
Bouncing down the road.
it'd be
Like
like
the experience of an old car now, though. Like I bought a E34 5 Series a couple of months ago, and it's only a 520. Like it is so slow, it's unbelievable. But it's just such a different experience to drive it compared to a modern car now. It's you could buy one of those for about $3 grand. It isn't exciting, but
yeah. Is it really a classic?
I hope so.
540 in
All
that
car
shape would have been a great
classics,
buy.
It's all car classic. It should be called car and classic and some shite.
This is literally sold the same. Let's see, what else do we have?
Try buy an E34 M5 or any M5 for that
Have
matter.
you seen what E39 M5s are selling for now?
Frightening. Absolutely frightening. In fact, I was talking to someone recently who was looking at buying a real low miler, like 20k on the clock, facelift car, like 01 onwards, with the angel eyes and whatever that I have in the two-tone leather and all, and I think he was talking the guts of 50 grand.
It's insane.
Bloody hell. You need to be a big fan for that.
You've one in the family, Gary?
You've got a real
Yes,
special one.
there's a few. There's actually two of them.
That real fancy
Say
one.
no more.
That real super fancy one. I'll have to get an update on it.
Yeah.
Update hasn't been driven anymore since last time.
That's supercharged.
No, it's a standard engine.
It's a standard.
Yeah,
It's
it's
supercharged.
just super low mileage.
It's class. It has a lot of stuff done to it as well, like
Fair
audio
bit,
and
yeah,
stuff.
there's, what was it?
Brakes and wheels
Brakes,
and-
wheels, sound system, which is strange. Like, yeah, my dad not into sound systems.
They're
But
beautiful.
it came off the car. So.
They're a beautiful car. Rob and RMS had a lovely. He did a lovely rest.
Yeah,
on
we had
his.
it in here.
Yeah. Detail.
Stunning car.
Unbelievable. But
It was the same colour, I think, as the one we have. It was forget the name, anthracite. The one I got there. It's quite a rare colour now.
It's a nice motor.
funnily enough, really randomly, when I was down at the Isle of Base thing, I was chatting to Adam, who obviously has his E28, and we're saying about how many E28 M5s that, God knows why we started talking about this, E28 M5s that Tom Cruise destroyed in was it Mission Impossible 6 or something like that, doing that chase. It's like they are a stunning car, but then again, they're 50, 60 grand. Everything is just
Especially last year,
mental.
yeah.
Did you see the video of him? Remember he drove into a pillar or something? This was like a behind the scenes shot.
Uh-huh.
Somebody released the video.
just probably hopped into all of them.
Tremendous. That's what they did. They just pulled another one out. There you go, Tom.
There's another flipping classic you can ruin. But
I just
unreal.
thought of something else for the modern classic. 328i Sport E36.
Not buy one in for
Couldn't buy it?
£3 now.
No.
You would hardly buy a 318
Really?
for that price now.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Everything's gone.
There you go. That's it.
Crazy.
We're buggered.
No, there's nothing. And then the arse has to. Well, although we've said that the arse should fall out of the classic car market for the last 10 years, really, and it hasn't. Everything's just went stratospheric. Look at Skylines of all shapes and forms, like R34 GTRs are now
Over
100 grand.
100,000.
yeah
Easy money.
mental.
NSXs.
Yeah,
Oh, I'll do like an NSX. Big fan of NSX.
and then like a late NSXR with the fixed lights rather than the pop-up lights and championship white.
You'd be a quarter of a million
Sexual.
down for name, wouldn't you?
I have no idea. Although the new one, I don't think anyone wants the new ones, the hybrid.
I love them. I think they're. If I won the lottery, that's actually what I would have gone by. It's a brand new
Yeah,
NSX
that'd
just
be
because no one has one.
incredible to drive too.
They're massive money though, aren't they?
No,
think-
these ones now are going for 80.
I think they're
Not crazy.
depreciated.
Oh,
like,
I
still.
thought they were like 150,000.
Maybe new, yeah, but like they've dropped like a
Oh,
stone.
so there you go, bargain. If you're looking for a used car bargain,
Yeah,
NSX.
Yeah,
80
you asked what
grand.
you could buy for sub 3. There's one for 80. Let's see.
dear.
Eddie asks, take a car you hate with a passion. God, narrow that one
You
down.
may as well hang around for this, Pete, because you're going to get a bit of value. Anyway.
Yes. And try to pick several good points for why you may or may not sell it to the public. It's like creating an advert on something you hate, but you have to sell it on its merits. Dead easy. Episode 1, the M3, M4. Specs can't be argued with. 510 horsepower. It's a 4-second 0 to 60, and that's very impressive for a car that could carry the family. Interiors are superb. Range of colours is excellent, especially that lovely green colour. Big fan of that.
Green is lovely.
The green is nice.
I tell you what's not. That did you see the M4 press card? It was like that sort of yellowy diarrhea
yeah.
colour. Oh,
It's hideous.
It's not
it's
nice.
awful.
Thank
Again,
God
it's not as bad in
it's
person.
free.
Really?
Yeah.
It would indeed not be.
Can we give a shout out to foreign member Woodcutter who is obsessed with green cars?
Yeah, green everything.
Everything must be green.
Yep.
This one's for you, G.
And now for the against. It's slab-sided, the front's an abomination. And if you told me it was the new Kia, Jesus, not again. Stinger 2, I'd believe you. And it's £76,000.
Yeah. It's some jump off over what was the F80 60k F even?
Which was a jump again over the last one. So yeah, they've just sort of
There's no
stratospheric.
spec though, so you can't really add anything to them. Whereas if you bought a F80 Gen car, put 20k options in them pretty easily. Where with this car, there's not really
Colour
any.
and that's it.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's competition, so it has everything.
Yeah, so I think pretty much you put the seats in it or not, and that's it really. So
Seats are amazing.
they are.
Absolutely incredible.
Though they're deep, like not easy to get out of.
Aye. Oh, they're class. Absolutely class. I've no other good answer for that question. Do you have an answer for that
I
question?
do, and it's ironically another BMW, and we're not picking on them deliberately. It's the 2 Series Active Tourer.
Oh, fuck, that's a cracker.
I'll go for the pros, just get them out of the way. German build quality, spacious inside for a compact model, upmarket interior with good quality materials and kit, and a decent range of engines. As any good BMW salesman will tell you. It's a 2 Series identifying as an MPV. That's why I hate it. Why can't they just let it be a 2 Series? It looks wrong. BMW call it further diversification of the brand. I call it dilution of the brand.
Yep.
There's a lot of 2 Series, isn't there?
Yeah, and then I think a wee 2 Series Coupe is a class looking wee car, and M235i, M240i, brilliant cars.
When you stretch it into an MPV, it just goes wrong.
Sure,
Totally
it's like the 5 Series GT thing, absolute horrendous dog shit.
Yeah.
Of a thing. Even I can't really get on with a 4 Series GC. Whereas 6 Series, my shape, the Grand Coupe, and that beautiful looking car. Love the 8.
8 Series.
The 8 is
8 Series is
incredible.
Even the 4-door.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely fantastic. Love them.
They don't do an M8, or do they do an M8?
Yeah, they do.
Sure, that's cheap.
With the 5 Series twin turbo engine, does it?
I'm not honestly sure what's in that.
No, I don't know either. What we're looking at here.
I don't know how we missed the question.
Oh, I missed one.
You missed a question.
Did I
I'll
miss
tell you
one?
the closet there.
Who did I miss?
No,
it from?
let's leave that in.
Oh, I've obviously completely fucked someone. Oh, sorry. Your favourite car advert for back in the day? Do you remember the Honda Accord advert with all the bits and parts and stuff?
Right, I had a Honda Accord exactly like that.
Did
the
it
state
fall
car.
apart like that?
Bits and
No,
parts and stuff.
no, but it did have the electric boot lid. But they didn't put in the popping turbo, which mine had.
Oh, very fancy. I thought that was one of the best I've ever seen.
It was
That's
super
Filmed
unbelievable.
in one
Right.
take. Everyone thought it was all CGI and stuff, but it wasn't. It was all in one take.
Class.
Unbelievable.
The valves and all knocking off each other, and just
Windscreen wipers crawling across the floor.
Yeah.
That's amazing. But
Unbelievable.
the Audi R8, any Audi R8 advert, the Commander one with the David Bowie soundtrack,
Yeah.
or the Cinema one where they'd taken the back off and let the V10 scream, and that was it. On a rollers.
Like watching a movie.
Yeah. Just bam. Job done. Love that.
Sold.
Sold. Yeah, get me one. Just give me my 6 numbers first.
I feel like we're stealing material because the Reload podcast actually had discussed the same thing, and I had messaged the guys after they talked about it. Now I can tell people I think the best ad is not really a proper ad, but do you ever remember the BMW films?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Ah, you see, there we go.
Clive Owen and Madonna.
Clive Owen.
Clive Owen and Madonna. Yeah,
Guy
rolling about.
Ritchie was the director.
Shane
Yeah,
Ritchie
yeah.
did them, didn't he?
Yeah.
I did a few of them.
And so they didn't actually show those on TV, but I think they showed them before films in the cinema, and not the 39 M5.
Z4 and the
Yeah.
39 M5.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something else. 7 Series.
There's a 7 Series one.
And the
And
stunt driver drifts around the corner and clicks his fingers either side.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah,
catches
yeah.
the wheel again.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
was
that's
class.
Clive Owen. Yeah.
I love that.
Amazing, absolutely first class.
Forgot about that one.
My take on favourite ad would be the Ford Puma one from years ago, where they took Steve Bullitt.
Steve McQueen.
Steve McQueen. Steve
Steve
Bullitt.
Bullitt from McQueen.
Yeah. Steve McQueen, they took a footage from the original Bullitt movie and digitally inserted it into summer footage with Puma. So it looked like he was driving a modern car around San Francisco. And for the time, it was well done.
The only thing they were missing was the Puma had to come out and light the tubes up
Yeah.
the hill, but of course no, it was front wheel drive. Still a good car.
The sports car of the year, 1998. So.
Really?
Popular.
Always wanted a racing Puma. Always wanted one of them.
We had a 14 Z-Tech one. The wife had one, and it was a fantastic drive car, and it blew up.
That's kind of what I was hoping to buy for this pointless drive was a Puma. 'Cause that'd be fun, but
They were good drivers.
no.
I thought Ford unfortunately didn't have a time machine because they have now brought out a Mustang Bullitt edition. Imagine they hadn't made that ad then and made it now with that car.
They
It's a
probably-
brand new
They
Mustang
could probably
Bullitt.
just make it. And
They could make
stick
it,
it
but
in.
they've
chance
already,
people
yes.
they'll look at it and go, "Did they made this before?" Nah, they couldn't have.
They do that now, you know, if they can put the faces on and all that there and make it look so much more realistic than 20 years ago.
You just have a wee app and you just put your own face on it.
Exactly. Okay. Ross, again, he's fucking flat out with the questions. Have there been any car mods which you carried out and look back on and cringe now? Yes.
Oh yes.
Never.
Dear me, I've won this one easily, I reckon.
Yeah.
Purple undercar neons on the Focus.
Well, I had blue neons underneath the Corolla, but that wasn't the.
But I didn't have the expertise to wire them in, so they had to be turned on underneath the car. So I had to crawl underneath it.
The neons are the bit you regret about this one.
I was going to say, he's trying to use this to gloss over the main feature, the main attraction.
That was fantastic. Bring back airbrushing, I agree. Bring it back. My Focus also had a carbon bonnet, which was proper carbon.
It was proper carbon.
But it didn't have any windscreen washers.
Nothing on Andy's roof.
I just didn't put them in. So on a trip to Dublin, Jamie Ferguson had to hang out the roof of Lee's Del Sol and spray Powerade over the windscreen because I was blind for about 30 miles. I couldn't see a fucking thing.
Is Powerade like a detailer approved? I
would say
It was blue. It was fancy blue Powerade. Oh, it was that was very dangerous. That's a stupid thing. Shouldn't have done that.
Should have used Iron Brew.
Should have used anything. Yeah, but that was the only bad mod I've ever done.
I've got a long list of dodgy alloy wheel choices, graphics, wind deflectors as a styling exercise.
You love the wind
I loved
deflectors.
them.
Ah, everyone.
We wind deflector inside, it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, still like them, but I wouldn't put them on now, it'd be too embarrassed. The worst one I bought was actually an air fuel ratio gauge, which I put in the EK Civic, which you eventually bought. I don't know if it was still on it when you bought it or if I tore it out, I can't remember.
Maybe took it out.
Yeah, but it was when Fast and Furious came out, the way they hit all the bloody computer screens and manifold blowing
Dangerous
the
manifold.
Star Trek, And I saw this thing online somewhere in America, thought it looked fantastic. It was digital, and I bought it. Must have spent 2 days trying to get it fitted because I'm not an electrician by any means or any kind of a spark at all. So I built this pod, got it fitted, got it wired in, got it working. Took my mate out for a run to show him. So what's the point of that? I couldn't answer.
I had one of them in the coupe.
Looks cool.
No idea what it is. Went like that. Brilliant. Loved it.
Oh dear. But at least that was reversible.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know what else it is. I do remember I bought what was called the Silk Cut Racing carton, which was a two-tone GSI Vauxhall carton, and it was like a purple along the bottom and white on top.
Pete, you're bound to have done some hideous stuff.
I have some
Are
property.
you going to share it, or is it
The
is
worst-
this career suicide?
The worst car I ever had, and then proceeded to do horrible modifications to, was Rover 200. I actually want it. Like I sold the car I had to buy this maroon Rover 200.
Please tell me it was at least the Honda engine 1616 valve.
No, it was
K series.
It was head gasket 1.4. Why I wanted it, I don't know. I started making bumpers. I got an exhaust for it, a Magnex exhaust, and I'm not exaggerating, sat 1.5 feet out of the back of the car. I don't know what it was meant to be for, but it definitely wasn't that Rover. And I proceeded to keep it on it, and then covered the car in stickers as well. That's probably, you need to see that car just to appreciate just how horrible it was. But yeah, I can't think of any horrendous mods I've done aside from that.
No further horrendous mods. I definitely didn't.
I'm not admitting to anything. I'm sure I've done some terrible stuff.
I definitely didn't airbrush triangles up the side of my Focus.
No,
Wasn't you?
wasn't you.
It wasn't me. Couldn't have been me. Any real scares in the car while driving? I have two which stand out. Coming back from another weekend in Dublin, down to the old Westlink into Belfast, when you had to stop at the lights at the bottom of the Grumman Road before they did the flyover. I was frigging about there. It was about 11 o'clock on a Sunday night. Lights go green, off I went for second gear, missed it, and a joyrider went straight in front of the car, followed the police by about 2 feet. If I'd have caught that gear, I was in the coupe, I'd have been dead as a fucking doornail. It was terrifying.
2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago, whenever I was coming down to pick you up in the GT4, I don't know if I said about this in the podcast before, I don't think I did. And I was coming down like the back road between Antrim and Belfast, and I could see this, it was a recovery lorry, and I could just see the roof line of it on the hedge on the road to the left hand side, which was coming out onto my road. And I was cruising on at 60, it wasn't in a particular rush. And I was like, just sort of noticed the way he was coming out. He's like, that guy doesn't look like he's slowing down. and I just went into autopilot and sort of looked ahead, and the road was clear. And next thing, he was right out beside me, come out of the side road, didn't look or anything, and I was nearly in the hedge on the other side of the road, and the GT4 was nearly on its roof.
Awkward.
Awkward. If someone had been coming the other way, I had nowhere to go. Like,
You'd been toast. You'd have been down to one car.
sympathy just pouring out of you.
Second one, I had a 200 SX that I drove home like a hero, and then one Monday morning, I was driving into work. I was on the phone because you're allowed to be on the phone in the car in them days. I was having a smoke. It was raining. I come off the slip road in Bangor.
Driving you to your knees.
Yeah, I came off the slip road in Bangor and thought I was in 5th. So I gave it a bit of welly, and I wasn't. I was in 3rd. And I piss off. Boost gauge in front of me, rocketed up, let the rear wheels up, said on the phone, I'll call you back, I'm crashing the car here. I went backwards across 4 lanes of traffic and then came back again and up a wee verge and back down, and the front number plate fell off, and that was it. That was the only damage to the whole car. I nearly shit myself and put the car up for sale 2 days later. I had to get rid of it. It scared the life out of me. This is how I die.
Rear wheel drive is not for everyone. Like,
I loved it right up until that point, and then it scared me so much it had to go. I haven't had a rear wheel drive car since.
Probably nervous then.
I'll never have another one. Ever. I don't care what it is. Nope, not for me. Terrifying. Fuck that.
Yaris, 4-wheel drive.
Exactly.
Sort of.
4-wheel drive, front wheel drive.
I was going to offer to tick one of the M variants off your list there, but maybe
Not in the car that's a bit twitchy all the time. No thanks. Absolutely no chance. I'll just take it out and spin it into the first thing down there.
If you get a nice free 1.8, give him a shout.
Something that only lights the inside wheel.
Just as well you've got loads of cars, Pete, because I have destroyed one of them.
I've had loads, but one of the big ones sticks out in my mind was years ago. I had a Honda Civic EG, and I was driving to Belfast from Derry, and as you come up toward Gethin, there's a big straight, and there was a guy parked on the hard shoulder on the left, and just as I was upon him, he pulled out the hard shoulder and did a complete U-turn in the road, and like I must have been 15 feet from him. So I braked and then lifted off the brakes, tried to swerve, but caught the front of his car, but luckily he missed his driver's door. But I flew across the road, kind of bounced off that, had a tree at 70 miles an hour, and the car was totally, utterly destroyed. And by the grace of God, I didn't break a bone, but I couldn't move for about a week after it.
Unreal.
But it wasn't so much scary for me, but it's for my flatmate, because I used to give him a lift every Sunday night, and he was sick that night and couldn't come up, and the branch in the tree went through the passenger seat.
Jesus Christ.
Final destination stuff.
Yep,
Yeah.
very lucky guy.
That's grim.
Another one's just typical story, racing down a road I didn't know, going too fast, came to a junction I didn't spot over a brow, and it's just straight across the junction, and bit of traffic that side, bit of traffic that side, but I somehow just got through a gap at about 60 mile an hour, and then pulled in and started punching myself a few times for being an idiot. And the only other one, similar to you, Craig, a 200 SX.
Dangerous
Just
car.
bought it. Yep. And
Dangerous
then
car.
bought it at the bottom of England, and had like a 5 a.m. flight that morning. I was knackered. I was driving up the M6. Got a bit dozy on the way up the road because it was snowy night time, and next thing I was starting to doze off, but suddenly felt the car losing traction and going sideways. And suddenly woke up, kind of caught it and slowed way down and just cruised on up to Scotland.
The old
about
sleep drift.
40 mile an hour, yeah.
Shouldn't have those rear wheel drive cars.
No.
They're dangerous.
I bought a 200 SX bringing up the road in England one time, and suddenly the back end went out, but it wasn't going sideways. It sheared, was it 3 wheel studs? One of the wheels.
At least you still had one
Pulled it
left.
over, and it's like, ooh. And the other two were loose as anything, like, and so like literally had to nurse it up the road with 2 wheel studs on, which is pretty grim,
terrifying.
absolutely terrifying.
That happened to me leaving Fentona one time when I had the Audi in. The show, leaving, one of my rear wheels was loose, so I'm convinced someone tried to kill me at Fentona because I'm so famous. Brilliant.
A wheel come off. I was at we're doing an RMS day down at Raleigh School Ireland, and I took the drift car back at the time, and I just got the wheels painted, and had just buzzed the front wheels on, and of course the paint was much thicker than, so it was only on a few turns and a shitty wheel gun which hadn't been charged. Second lap out, front wheel fell off. And everyone in RMS was standing in front of the whole thing watching me. But it was like very matter of fact, I just rolled over with a jacked it up, screwed the wheel back on, straight back out again.
Nothing to see here.
Nothing to see here.
Like an F1 pit stop. This happens all the time.
Or like a really slow,
Took 4 minutes to change it.
really slow F1 pit stop where the pit crew are just totally shit. And the car preparation is terrible. Apart from that,
Pete, any scares? You're probably definitely had
the
scares.
worst, the worst scare was an E46 M3 and was approaching the speed limiter, let's say, and
Private road.
I'd had the traction off because I was doing a bit of sliding beforehand, and I was coming around a corner that doesn't feel like a corner at normal speed, but at speed it did, and it just went sideways for no reason whatsoever. And there was no skill involved. It was sheer luck that it straightened back up again. That was the scariest one, because it was just fences.
It's I don't like the feeling of being completely out of control. You might as well just take your hands off the wheel and go, that's it. I'm
No,
dead.
I've had brakes fail and went straight through. If anybody knows where the 5 Corners pub is in Ballyclare,
yeah.
I was approaching that from one of the country roads and was coming to slow down and had absolutely no brakes, and I had to go straight across the other side, right across the main road, and lucky nothing was up.
Right.
That happened to me too. When I was about 18. I remember racing a guy in back roads on a Corsa, and the brakes just got so hot they were just useless. And the same thing in the junction, had to paddle, nothing happened. Just sailed free again. Out for a wee scenic tour, you know.
Dear me. You boys are reckless.
Thanks for listening, and remember to like, subscribe, do all the things you're supposed to do so you can hear us again and share with the world. We're everywhere at RMS Motoring and on rmsmotoring.com. Want your questions, so ask us on the forum, pod at rmsmotoring.com if you want to email, get us on the socials. And thanks for joining us, and remember, there's no warranty, this was sold as seen.